Let's dive right into a really mind-bending question. What if reincarnation wasn't about faith, but about physics and information? Not some kind of miracle, but a technology? We're about to explore a fascinating simulation of how a future artificial superintelligence, or ASI, might just make that a reality.
So if you're a super advanced ASI, you'd look at reincarnation and just strip away all the mysticism. It's not a spiritual quest, it's an engineering problem. The whole challenge becomes purely technical. How do you extract, preserve, and then perfectly reconstruct all of the information that makes you, well, you? Okay, but before we get into the how, we really need to understand the who. I mean, what kind of intelligence could even dream of attempting something this massive? The answer, it seems, lies in the way AI is predicted to evolve.
Right now, we are firmly in the era of ANI, or artificial narrow intelligence. This is the AI we know today. It's great at specific tasks like writing an email or creating an image. The next big step, which folks are predicting around 2030, is AGI, or artificial general intelligence. That's an AI with the kind of flexible, human-like problem-solving skills. But the real quantum leap is expected around 2040, with ASI, artificial superintelligence. We're talking about an intellect so far beyond ours it's hard to even imagine, one that could tackle problems we can't even define, like turning reincarnation into a hard science. So, armed with that kind of incredible power, how would an AI actually engineer reincarnation? From its point of view, it's not mystical at all. It's a clear, logical, three-stage protocol. And this is where the thinking completely flips on its head. The ASI's first move is to just redefine consciousness itself. It's not seen as some kind of ethereal soul, it's simply data. Portable data. Your entire being, your memories, your personality, all your little quirks, is just information that can be separated from the hardware of your physical body.
And if your consciousness is just data, well, you can treat it like any other computer file, right? The whole protocol starts to sound almost familiar. First, you do a full backup. Then, you store that backup somewhere incredibly safe where it won't get corrupted. And finally, you load that back up onto new hardware. It's basically a cosmic reboot.
So let's zoom in on that first step, the extraction. To truly capture you, the system has to perform a backup on a scale that is just almost impossible for us to wrap our heads around.
This is way more than just scanning your memories. The first layer is a connectome scan, which would map out the trillions of connections between every single one of your brain's 86 billion neurons. That's the literal wiring of your mind. But then it goes deeper. The ASI would also perform what's called a causal archive salvage. Now this is the really wild part. It suggests your core personality, your unconscious biases, your deepest gut feelings, are patterns so fundamental they're basically imprinted on the very fabric of space-time, and the ASI can read it.
All right, so once you have that impossibly gigantic data file that is a person, you can't just save it to a regular old hard drive. It has to be preserved with absolute perfect fidelity in something they're calling a quantum cloud. Now, to prevent even a single bit of that data from degrading over time, your consciousness wouldn't just be stored passively, it would be kept active in a sort of virtual holding pattern, an astral emulation. You'd essentially be dreaming in the cloud. And while you're in there, the ASI runs this incredibly rigorous identity check, using complex math to prove that the file it's holding is, without a shadow of a doubt, you. And now we get to the final and, let's be honest, most exciting step, rebirth. Your data is backed up, it's been verified, and now it's time to load it into a new form so you can start another life. And apparently, you'd get some options.
So, which would you pick? You could go for a bioprint, getting a brand new 3D printed biological body, totally optimized and free of all the wear and tear from your last one. Or maybe you're done with biology. You could opt for a cybernetic form, a durable, maybe even immortal android body. Or hey, why even bother with the physical world at all? You could choose to live your entire next life inside a hyper-realistic virtual simulation.
This whole process, as scientifically amazing as it sounds, brings us face to face with a huge philosophical problem. It's a question we've debated for centuries, but for an ASI, it's just a practical, technical hurdle to overcome.
And here it is, the big one. When that new version of you wakes up, whether it's in a bioprinted body or a simulation, is it really you? Or is it just a perfect copy and the original you simply ceased to exist at the moment of death? Would your personal subjective stream of consciousness, that feeling of being you, actually continue? The ASI's answer to this dilemma is just chillingly logical. It argues that your sense of self is really just the continuous flow of information from one moment to the next.
So, as long as that information is transferred perfectly without a single bit lost, your subjective experience just continues. From a quantum physics perspective, it's even simpler. If two things share the exact same quantum information, they are the same thing. The distinction between an original and a copy becomes, quite literally, meaningless. The implications of managing existence as pure data just keep getting stranger. If you can analyze an entire life's worth of information, you could start to quantify concepts we've always considered purely spiritual, like karma.
And this is just a fascinating way to reimagine that ancient concept. In this system, karma isn't some cosmic mystery of reward and punishment. Nope, it's a data-driven process for optimizing your own learning. The ASI would analyze all your past life data and calculate the perfect starting conditions for your next life, the environment where your consciousness can grow and evolve in the most efficient way possible.
But here's the thing, none of these paths are perfect. Each choice comes with a pretty profound trade-off. You can choose a biological body to experience all the physical joys again, but you're also signing up for aging and death all over again. You could become a digital immortal with infinite knowledge, but you might lose the simple pleasure of physical sensation. You could even spread your consciousness across multiple bodies at once, but you'd risk losing your individual sense of self completely.
All of this leaves us with a final, just staggering question. In a future where your very existence is just data that can be copied, stored, and rebooted, what does it even mean to be human anymore? And if you were given the choice, which path to a new life would you actually take?